How you going, guys? I'm Dean from the Adeptus Victorium, and I'm here to talk to you about the next event in the Adeptus Victorium circuit, Ascension. Ascension is a one-day Warhammer 40k event with 4 rounds at an ascending points value. So for the first round, players will have a 500 point army, and then each round after that, they add 500 more points to that army. So you start with 500, second game is 1,000 points, next game is 1,500, and then the final game is a big battle of 2,000 points. And the interesting thing about the way we're doing this is you have to keep each 500 point increment. So you can't just write a completely different list. You start with 500 and you have to add 500 points more to that list. So you've got to try and design a 500 point list that's going to work well on its own, but it's also going to complement your overall progressive army. Ascension will be held at House of War in Ringwood, Victoria on the 22nd of June. When writing lists, players must nominate one character in their army that is not Titanic or a named character, and that character will be their Ascendant. And the Ascendant gets various bonuses and buffs throughout the event, and also is very crucial to some of the missions, but we'll go over that later. There are 3 ways to generate points towards your overall score at Ascension. There's your battle score, your presentation score, and your Ascension score. I'll go through those one by one now. Across the 4 rounds, you'll have an opportunity to generate between 0 and 80 battle points. These battle points are done on a 0 to 20 per game, and it's done based on a victory point differential between you and your opponent. Every army will receive a presentation score from 0 to 20 based on a tick box system that you can see in the player's pack. And finally, there's a 0 to 20 Ascension score based on the success of your Ascendant in the battlefield. In each of the 4 rounds, there are 4 ways to earn Ascension points. You'll score 1 if your Ascendant survives the duration of the game. You'll score 1 if you kill your opponent's Ascendant. You'll score 1 if your Ascendant kills 1 or more units during the game. And you'll score a final Ascension point if your Ascendant kills your opponent's Ascendant. So there's going to be some big epic battles between big characters in these games, which is going to be cinematic as fuck. The other 4 Ascension points are generated based on the presentation and modelling effort put into your Ascendant. You'll get 1 Ascension point if your Ascendant is fully built and fully WYSIWYG. If you've given them an upgraded weapon, we want to see upgraded weapons. If you've given them upgraded armor, we want to see upgraded armor, that sort of thing, to get that WYSIWYG point, which is what you can see is what you get. You'll get a further point if your Ascendant is painted to a basic standard. And there's 1 additional point for extra effort in the painting and extra effort in the modeling. Really sick conversions, cool pose changes, that sort of thing will get you extra conversion points, and things like highlights and shading, freehand, weathering, non-metallic metals, source lighting, all of those sorts of things will get you additional points for the painting. At Ascension, we're going to have 4 minor awards. We're going to have Best General for the player who places the highest based purely on battle. We're going to have the Master Ascendant, which is for the player who gets the most Ascension points throughout the games. We're going to have Best Presented, which is based on the judges and the paint judges, which army is the best presented on the day. And then we're also going to have Player's Choice, which goes to whoever receives the most votes for Best Presented. In addition to these minor awards, we're also going to have a 1st, 2nd, and 3rd place overall, each of which will get a glass trophy. And this is based off their overall score, which combines your battle, your Ascension points, and your presentation points. Ascension is a very narrative-driven event. One of the things that makes this effective is the ascending points value, which represents your warlord gaining more power and more control, and therefore more troops to use on the battlefield. In addition to this, we've added in one of the options from the open play from Chapter Approved, which is the custom character generation rules. And basically what we've got is a series of charts and tables that you can select various upgrades or enhancements for your characters. And the way we're going to do this is at the start of each battle round, after you've seen who your opponent's army is, you can select 1 of these upgrades, and that lasts for the rest of the event. So at the start of the first battle round on the first game of the day, you can pick 1, and then the next game you pick another, So by the end you can have 4, or alternatively, for those who are a bit crazy, we've said you can roll random 2. So you can pick a table and roll a 2d6 and you get those 2 abilities. Some of them you're going to want to pick, some of them you might want to roll. So we're going to leave that up to the players. I'm really excited to see what you guys do. I'm going to go through a few of them up on the side here, just to show you guys an idea of some of the things you can do and get you thinking about ways that you can use these to make a really cool custom character. Okay, so there's 36 different abilities that you could select for your character. I'll go through some of my favorites now. My number 1 has to be Keen Eye, which allows your Ascendant to target characters as if they were the closest model. It essentially turns any character into a sniper. So if you've got a character that's got a decent gun, like say a Tau Commander, you can give him Keen Eye and he can fly around sniping characters, which would be a really powerful ability for a Tau Commander. Another one of my favorites is Indomitable, which allows you to halve incoming damage rounding up, similar to, say, Abaddon the Despoiler. This would be really good on like a really high wound character like a Demon Prince or say an Imperial Guard tank commander. Being able to halve incoming damage will significantly increase the survivability of that model. There are also some really interesting abilities that are aura effects, like the Reactive Tactics ability, which allows this model and all friendly models within 6 inches to fall back and still charge that phase, which is really powerful. And essentially, you can use that combined with, say, Ultramarines to be able to fall back, shoot, and then charge again, which is really strong. But for those of you who just want to create a real beat stick, there are also characteristic modifiers and weapon enhancements. So I'll go through some of those now. These ones are all pretty basic and pretty simple. Things like adding 6 inches of range to your ranged weapon, adding 1 damage to your close combat weapon, that sort of thing. Obviously these don't stack with relics, so you can't take like a Smash Captain and give him a 5 damage Thunderhammer. However, they do stack with other enhancements on these tables. So one of the weapon enhancements is called Brutal, which allows you to add 1 to the strength characteristic of that weapon. So say you've got a weapon that's user strength, it can be user +1. And then on a separate table, there are characteristic modifiers and you can increase the strength of your character by 1. So now you might have had a guy with a chainsword who is hitting at strength 4, you're now hitting at strength 6 with that chainsword. There are also a whole ton of defensive buffs like adding +1 to your armor save, adding +1 to your invulnerable save, or adding +1 to your toughness, all of which make any character significantly harder to deal with, and it's significantly more imposing on the battlefield. So yeah, that pretty much wraps up Ascension. So the key points are that it's a ascending points value starting at 500 and adding 500 for each of the 4 rounds, and a lot of the focus is around your Ascendant, who gets stronger as the event progresses. So if that sounds like an event that you'd have fun at, make sure you hit me up on Facebook, go to the Adeptus Victorium Facebook page, we've got all the information there. We've also got our website, adeptusvictorium.weebly.com, and we've also got Down Under Pairings, which has links and information for sign-ups. So check out those places, and I look forward to seeing you there.